Dr. Stephen Mosher. One of the reasons I love Mosher, he's written one of the best books about China, if you get a chance, Bully of Asia, Why China's Dream is the New Threat to the World Order. He's been on this for decades. He's one of the great experts. You made a comment, before we bring in Rudy Giuliani, Dr. Mosher, or Stephen, you made a great comment about people don't understand how they look at human nature. The Chinese Communist Party, the biggest victims are the innocent, hardworking Chinese people, the people you saw in that village where you work, the people I've gotten to know, Lao Beijing, Old 100 Names, which is basically the average guy in China, the deplorables. Talk about the mentality and how it was personified this week in Alaska, sir.
Well, the Chinese Communist Party has absolute disdain for human life. I mean, think about the human wave attacks in the Korean War. Think about the fact Mao said he's not afraid of nuclear war. If we lose 300 million people, our women will make it up in a generation. Think about the fact that they kill babies at birth, that they abort women at 9 months of pregnancy. Think about the fact that they harvest organs from prisoners and sell them at a profit on the international market. All of these things indicate one thing, and they indicate a political machine that treats human life like the masses, like a herd of animals to be expended whenever it enhances their power. There's absolute disdain for human life, for other human beings. If you have power in China, you're on the top of the mountain. If you don't, you can be used and disposed of at will. And that was on full display in Alaska. I was amazed. For the first time, the Chinese officials in Alaska treated us the way they treat their own people, treated us the way they've been treating the Australians for the last 2 years, for example. Last year, they said the Australians were like gum stuck to the bottom of their shoes. Occasionally, you have to get rid of it. Their gum stuck to the bottom of your shoes. That's a whole people the Australians referred to by the Chinese Communist Party that way. They wouldn't have dared under the Trump administration with Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State to treat us this way. The arrogance came through, the condescension came through, the demands came through, and the translation was really bad, Steve, because at one point they said, "You're in no position to lecture us." It didn't. I think the translation was, "You don't have qualifications to talk to us." That wasn't it at all. If you listen to the tone was one of absolute arrogance, talking down to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken as if he were a representative of a lesser people from the periphery talking to a high Chinese imperial official. This arrogance, this wolf warrior diplomacy, I think shows the world, it should show the world and should show the United States that these people only respect strength. They do not respect weakness.
Yeah. If people in this audience don't think that's going to have a direct impact on your personal life, you're kidding yourself. On your community, on your life, on your children's life. The Chinese Communist Party, the biggest victims are the Chinese people. They do not respect life. This is a transnational criminal organization. Mm-hmm. And here's the problem with it. Biden should have recalled. Blinken is a clerk, and Sullivan's a messenger boy. They should have been recalled immediately from Alaska and come back. Never, ever should the United States be lectured by a criminal organization. And by the way it's playing in CCP, they're talking about the weakness of America, right? They're driving, as I've warned for years, you got to confront them on the cyber war and the information war and the economic war, which is a hot war, not a cold war, because they're in business with Wall Street, the City of London, the global corporations, and the Chamber of Commerce. They're in business with all these guys, right? That cover up for them all the time. The brutality on the Chinese people, the victimization of the Chinese people, that's how they care about people throughout the world. And this is going to be a problem. And we are heading, as sure as night follows day, we are heading towards, as I've warned about for years, a kinetic conflict in either Taiwan or the South China Sea. And it is coming. And if you didn't think in Alaska where they're lecturing a weaker power, and Biden should admit, it says he's proud he's proud of Blinken. The only concern he had is the woman next to Blinken that had the purple hair. He was embarrassed by that. Here's what he should have been embarrassed about. The clerk he sent, which is Blinken, and the messenger boy, which is Sullivan, these weak-willed, they were dismissed by the Chinese. Stephen, we got to go, but I just got to reiterate with you. How dangerous is this situation now with the United States of America versus the existential threat of the transnational criminal organization? This is not China. It's not the Chinese people. This is a transnational criminal regime, illegitimate criminal regime that controls Beijing and controls and oppresses the Chinese people. How dangerous is this situation now to the United States and to the world?
Oh, it's absolutely dangerous. We're facing an organization that wants to dominate, international criminal organization that wants to dominate not just China, but dominate the world. My goodness. They told us in Alaska we couldn't talk to them about values. We couldn't talk to them about human rights because they outnumber us. And they've got an economic machine that's growing larger and larger each day. It was set back under the Trump administration by about 10 years, but they're on the march. And right now we're in retreat. I think that the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, should either have defended the United States in Alaska and said, we are the one exceptional nation in the world, the universal nation, and you represent the past, we represent the future. Instead, he apologized for the United States. The apology tour continues, Steve, and it just makes me afraid for the future of our country and the future of for my children and grandchildren. We need to stand up to this power. If we are weak, if we manifest weakness, they will just roll right over us.